Hello guys, continuation of obviously languages in JavaScript, JavaScript for Kids, chapter 6. It's gonna move into, and today we're gonna discuss the conditionals and loops, right? Okay. So if you guys can turn to page 116. So conditionals and loops are two of the most important concepts in JavaScript. Okay, conditional says something is true, do it or do this, otherwise do that. For example, if you do your homework, you can have ice cream, right? But if you don't do your homework, you don't get the ice cream. Loop says as long as something is true, keep doing this. For example, as long as you're thirsty, keep drinking water. So conditions is basically like the let me adjust the screen here. So conditions is basically conditions or stuff that, let's say, your parents might set out. Let's say, for example, right, you do a certain thing or you do a certain chore for them. If you do that chore, you might get paid. Let's say, for example, you wash the car, obviously, you might get paid. That's a condition. But if you do not wash your car, you won't get paid. That's a condition. A loop is as long as something is done, keep doing it. The example that has been given, right? Right? As long as you're thirsty, keep drinking water, or as long as you're hungry, keep eating food, or as long as you need money, keep earning, right? So that's difference between a condition and a loop. The condition is if, and then a loop is keep on, right? Conditions and loops are powerful concepts that are basically key to any sort of sophisticated program, right? Okay. They are called control structures because they allow you to control which parts of your code are executed when and how often they're executed based on certain conditions you define, right? So obviously we need to go over how to embed a JavaScript in our HTML file to start creating longer programs that we've looked at so far, right? So obviously what we're looking at is the HTML that was done in chapter 5, right? It's HTML, right? It's the objects that was created in chapter 5, right? Same thing, same old thing, right? So a new element was added, it was called a script, right? This special element in HTML, most HTML elements, the content between the opening and closing tags is displayed on the page. With script, on the other hand, everything between the tags is treated as JavaScript, not by the JavaScript interpreter. Now let's look at the code inside the script element. Var message, hello world, right? So this is basically the element that's been so right. This is the code, right? This is the code inside the script element, right? Running JavaScript in an HTML file is quite different from running it in the console, right? When you run it using a JavaScript console, each line you type is run as soon as you press enter. The value of that line is printed out to the console. The web page, the JavaScript is all run from top to bottom at one time, and nothing is automatically printed to the console unless we tell the browser otherwise. We can use console.log to print this out, which will make it easy to see what's going on as we run our programs. Console.log method takes any value and prints out or logs that value to the console. For example, if you load the HTML file from the beginning of this section of the JavaScript console open, you see this hello world, right? So that's yeah, that basically yeah. There are two forms of conditional statements in JavaScript: statements and if-else statements. An if statement is used to execute a piece of code if something is true. For example, uh, if you've been good, you get a treat, and if our statement executes one piece of code, if something is true and another if not. For example, if you've been good, you get a treat, else you get grounded, right? So those are the two conditions, right? For example, of an if statement would be this. This would be an example of an if statement, right? Then if all statements, as said before, if statement executes body only if the condition is true. If you want something else to happen when the condition is false, you need to use an if else statement. Let's extend the example from earlier. So obviously you got one like statement, right? Just one. Then here's another one, so you got two outs, right? If that is false, then this second statement, the last one, would be the one that is considered, right? And also gets added. So that's a pretty much a great overview on yeah, on chapter six, right? That's a pretty good overview of it, right? Conditions and loops. Obviously, if you want more information, obviously you can download the PDF for a JavaScript for kids. Obviously, if you guys, the people, the directors behind JavaScript for kids, as you can see, I'm advertising your book. So, if you guys can pay me for this advertisement, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. Take care and God bless. Thank you. Oh, other hand, sorry.